This video is brought to you by my supporters on Patreon. Hi guys, I'm here with a video showing you guys how I go about creating my patterns. Now this footage is really old, it's like a couple years old, and I'm just now getting around to editing it, so sorry. But anyways, I pretty much do the same thing to create patterns nowadays, so I figured I wouldn't re-record it. No, I'm telling you guys, this is not super important. So let's move on to the actual topic of the video. Alright, so to create the patterns, and this is for clothing pieces specifically, I take newspaper and, well, at least in this video I took newspaper. I take whatever I have laying around, so it's either going to be newspaper or cellophane that I use. And then I take some sort of tape. In this video I'm using masking tape, but I often will use duct tape instead, just because I prefer that. It sticks a bit better. But masking tape also works perfectly fine, and as packaging tape works fine too. Either way, you need to have some sort of base and then wrap yourself in tape. I've seen people take old t-shirts and use that as a base even, and then just cut themselves out of it later. If you're doing this method, make sure that you do have a shirt that you don't care about underneath it, because you might accidentally cut it, and it would suck if you cut a nice shirt. So there's a couple key things to remember when doing this. When you take your base material, whether it's newspaper or cellophane, make sure that you don't wrap yourself super tightly, because you might corset yourself in. And the same rule goes for when you apply tape. Don't just take the duct tape roll, tape down one side, and start wrapping around yourself, because it will suction you in and your pattern will end up much smaller than you want it to be. So unless you're using really stretchy material or you're trying to make a corset, you probably don't want to do that. So when you're applying tape, just apply it in small strips. This will help keep it from corsetting and becoming too tight, and kind of pat it on rather than pull it super tight, unless you have a couple areas that are loose. Like if you're using newspaper as a base, there's some areas that will obviously be a bit loose and not suction as well. You don't want to like super suction to you, but you want it tight enough where it's actually going to have the shape you're looking for. I also usually cover the entirety of the base material in tape, but for this specific pattern I got kind of lazy, so I only taped the newspaper together as much as I needed to, and then just left the rest as actual newspaper, since the back is hard to get by yourself. If you have someone to help you tape up the back of you, that's great. Once I'm taped up as much as I want to be, I go ahead and draw on any seam lines that I need, any designs that I need, while I'm still wearing it, and then I pick a seam line to cut myself out from. And then I usually just used one side of the pattern after this to use, so that each side is symmetrical, because I never get it perfectly symmetrical while I'm actually wearing it. I'll pick the best side later. This specific pattern is what I use to create my Bombshell Supergirl cosplay. And that's it for this tutorial video thing. I know this doesn't work perfectly for every method, but it does come in handy for quite a few like more unique designs and armor, like breastplates and stuff. I hope you guys found this video helpful, and thanks for watching. Bye!